Do you struggle with the idea of a design style, or perhaps struggle to find out what characteristics make up specific design styles, or even how to incorporate them into your own home? Well, in this video, we are going to discover your design style as I break up some of the most common design styles that have stood the test of time, and some that are even trending in 2022. These design styles are not only going to show you some brilliant characteristics and help us understand the foundation to design styles, but they're also going to help you implement them into your very own home. As I'm sure you're aware, today's video is all about design styles, a very exciting topic and one that I can't wait to share with you. But if I can ask you, leave some comments in the comment section so we can see what your preferred design style is as we progress. First things first, I'd like to ask you if you know what a design style is. A design style is a tool that you can use to implement color, design principles and elements within a space. We then take this tool, implement it into our space to achieve a desired aesthetic, a signature design style, if you will. Right, so now that we've got the nitty-gritty out of the way, I'm going to break down 5 design styles, 5 key design styles that are going to help you find your preferred design style and help you design and add character to your very own interiors. What are we waiting for? Let's dive right in. Design style number 1, mid-century modern. This is a design style that has really stood the test of time, a design style that we actually still see today. This style originated in the mid-20th century in America, post-World War, and its main purpose was to defeat the traditional styles and boundaries of design. Mid-century modern was heavily influenced by German Bauhaus design, mirroring characteristics such as designing around functionality and cleanliness. Now that we know a little bit about the history, let's dive into some of those characteristics of our mid-century modern style that you can use to bring into your spaces. Our first iconic characteristic of this style is color. We see muted neutrals paired with bright accent colors was a very popular trend and still is. With that being said, we still see that the use of colors are centralized around nature. So we're seeing bright earthy greens, clay oranges and reds, autumn leafy yellows and browns, and that very nice deep sea blue. When it comes to materials in this characteristic, we're seeing man-made materials such as plastics, vinyls, and fiberglass mixed with your natural materials such as timber, glass, metals, and marbles. A very nice characteristic that we're seeing in the mid-century modern is a mix of modern and vintage. We see that modern and vintage pieces are used in combination. Lines are iconic to mid-century modern. We see clean lines. This is also quite a minimalist design style that focuses on functionality and sparse, clean lines. When it comes to the furniture pieces in the style, we see that these furniture pieces generally have a tapered leg or a hairpin leg. That's an iconic piece of furniture for today. For example, the Eames chair. That is definitely something you want to bring into your space if you're wanting to add a little bit of mid-century modern to your living room or bedroom area. Right, so now we get to the how. How do we implement this amazing style into our spaces? Let me show you exactly how to do that. So recently I found some beautiful timber pieces on a site called Etsy. This is an amazing site. You can order online and get it delivered directly to your home wherever you are. Another obvious site would be Amazon. I've seen some beautiful decor items at IKEA as well that won't break the bank. Items such as your mirrors, soft finishes and furnishings, and lighting and pendants. As we move on from mid-century modern style, we see a really beautiful style called the Japandi style. And this is one that I'm sure you've heard of as it's been trending for a while now. So in this style, you'll see quite a lot of that minimalist influence, as well as a Japanese and Scandinavian influence, which makes it incredibly interesting. Moving on to the very important heading or topic, the characteristics. Let me show you some of the amazing characteristics that make this Japandi style so unique. Firstly, when it comes to color, we speak about a neutral color palette. These color palettes are key in the Japandi style. Think about sands, beiges, and whites, with timbers and brown textures to create that warmth. You can then bring in some muted green tones such as plant life and greenery to mimic the nature around us. Next, when we speak about Japandi, we speak about outdoor living. Again, bringing nature into your home with the use of plant life. Another nice element to bring here is to use large windows to expose as much natural light as possible. Remember, key here to bring the outdoors in. In the Japandi style, we have a characteristic of natural materials. Natural materials that are not treated are key in this style. Some of the materials you want to focus and look at here are your timbers. So untreated natural timbers are brought into almost every space. A key element and characteristic to the Japandi style is to reduce clutter. In your Japandi spaces, you're wanting to think minimalism in terms of reducing clutter, clean lines and functionality. Very important and a characteristic very easily implemented into a space. And lastly, we want to think about maintaining a zen feel in our spaces, making sure that our spaces are looking tranquil and feeling tranquil at the same time. Let's take a look at the how. How can we implement this style into our homes? Because Japandi design has quite a strong focus on good craftsmanship, we're wanting to pick and select elements and pieces of furniture that will stand the test of time. You don't want to be selecting elements that are going to be thrown away after a year. With that being said, here's a list of some areas that you can look at either online or actually go into the physical stores to find some Japandi furniture pieces. Some of the first places that I've had a look at and found some beautiful elements are your Amazon, Zara Home and IKEA. I've also recently found that IKEA has got a brilliant video showing you how to implement the Japandi style into your space, which I'm going to leave in the comments section below. So do be sure to check that out and have a look at the amazing stuff that they've got on offer. Moving on to style trend number 3, Art Deco. Authenticity comes to mind when we speak about the Art Deco style. This style came to play in the roaring 20s and primarily took off in Europe and America. This is a very glamorous and optimistic design era that brings about a feeling of luxury and opulence to your space. Right, so we all love the roaring 20s, we all love a little bit of luxury. Let's take a look at some of the characteristics we can use to bring the Art Deco style into our spaces. Characteristic number 1, geometric shape. Geometric shape is key and key characteristic to the style, which was influenced heavily by the Cubist artists of their times. The next characteristic to keep an eye out for in this style is the deep color. Bold colors paired with high sheen finishes such as golds, silvers, and blacks are high on the characteristic list. Some of the favorite color combination and color palettes of this era are deep blues, greens, yellows, reds, and pinks. Next characteristic, we're going to look at high-end materials. There was a generous use of gold, steel, timber, and marble in both furniture and accessories during this period, which essentially added to the opulence of the style and added opulence to its characteristic. The last characteristic is the lighting fixtures. Lighting fixtures were characterized in this era by the detail that they held. Lighting details incorporated geometric and symmetrical patterns, which were a key characteristic as well. Now that we've got a little bit more of expertise in the characteristic side of Art Deco, let's take a look at where you can find some Art Deco pieces. Besides the typical suggestion of Zara Home and Amazon Home, another interesting place to find budget-friendly Art Deco elements is H&M Home. Have a look at this beautiful coffee table and headboard, which just scream Art Deco. From here, we move on to style number 4, where we look at minimalism, and specifically warm minimalism. This trend is all about using the absence of items to enhance the idea of what remains. Minimalism is all about breaking the idea of consumer culture. Minimalism has been trending for years now, and for very good reason. The less is more concept. Minimalism is all about creating neutral, clutter-free spaces centralized around the importance of functionality and creating spaces with intention. In this trend, we just want to keep what is necessary and functional in the space. So no clutter, just necessity. We are seeing that minimalism as a style is here to stay, and for very good reason. However, we are seeing some fundamental changes to the minimalist characteristic. What, you may ask? Well, number one typically being a little bit of warmth being added into the fundamental primary characteristics. The new term that we're seeing is in fact called warm minimalism. We're moving away from the cold, stark aesthetic and seeing a warmer version of the style being brought into the world. With that being said, let's take a look at some of the core and key characteristics to implement this trend into your space. Starting off with your monochromatic color scheme. So a monochromatic color scheme consists of whites, beiges, and grays, and are typically minimalist design spaces. A neutral color palette is also key. So you would use your whites, your sand colors to carry the space to reduce the busyness of color. The next characteristic is a natural material palette. The inclusion of natural timbers and fabrics such as linens and cottons into your interiors is key. By bringing your natural elements into your space, you're minimizing the cold, stark grays and you're bringing in those beautiful beiges and warm tones. The next characteristic is to only use the essential. This style is all about using what is essential to your space. So you're creating open spaces, open plan layouts with little to no clutter, bringing about that sense of freedom and calmness within your spaces. So to begin, because minimalist is so popular at the moment and we can almost find it in any store, here are some of my key go-to places for that quick budget-friendly minimalist purchase. My top go-to places for a minimalist purchase is Zara Home and H&M Home. Moving on to our final style for today, style number 5, modern farmhouse. Love it or hate it, your farmhouse or modern farmhouse style is one that's here to stay. The farmhouse style is also a fairly new style as far as styles go, and one that has come about to encourage and bring about a sense of practicality. The farmhouse style brings rustic elements into your spaces to encourage that homely feel. The style is a nod in a sense to the simpler life. The style is best suited to a home that is architecturally designed around a farmhouse style as well. So you want to make sure that you're matching interior and exterior with this style. Did you know that this style originated out of necessity during the Industrial Revolution? Farmhouses were built with what was there, what was attainable. Some of these elements would have included wood, stone, and other natural materials. Having had a better idea of where this style originated from, let's take a look at some of the key and core characteristics of this style. Starting off with our inclusion of natural materials. This style favors reclaimed wood, items found around your home, wicker, stone, and cotton elements, all natural elements. The next characteristic is to mix and match furniture. The idea here is to use what you have and use what fits rather than buying new. Next, this style incorporates natural color palettes. The color scheme is simple and natural, using either warm and neutral or cool colors. You want to bring in earthy tones, natural blues and greens. From here, you want to add in your woods, metals, and accent them to create a rustic, utilitarian look that combines the natural with industrial. Our last characteristic is to embrace imperfection. When selecting the pieces of furniture for the space, you kind of want to optimize on that weathered, farmy, authentic look and feel. Let's move on to where you can find some farmhouse or modern farmhouse pieces for you to incorporate into your home. My top picks for places to find these furniture pieces are IKEA and Zara Home. Right guys, that's a wrap for our design, style and guide for 2022. Obviously, that's just a couple of the key styles that you can use to implement and guide your design style for your very own space. Obviously, as you know, I'd love to hear from you, so if you can, leave a comment in the comment section below if any of these styles were styles that you've already got in your space or ones that you're wanting to incorporate. Also, let us know which one of these was your favorite. With that being said, I hope you've enjoyed the content that we've just created in this video. I'd love it if you could click subscribe or click like, keep interacting with us, and I so look forward to seeing you next time. Good luck with your styles, guides, and the characteristics that we've just shown you, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video.